Ever walk into a Shengshang and wonder, how did they get so big?
Right.
Well, get this. We've got their FY 2023 annual report.
Oh, juicy.
And let me tell you, it's like a masterclass in not just surviving tough times, but actually thriving.
Annual reports, they don't exactly have a reputation for being page turners.
True.
But tucked away in all those numbers, there's a story.
And in Shengshang's case,
It's a good one. Resilience, smart strategies, even a peek into their company culture. It's all there.
okay, so no more teasing. What's the headline? How'd they do in 2023?
In a word, solid. Try $1.37 billion in revenue.
Get out.
Not even kidding. That's up 2.1% for the year before. And get this, it's their second year breaking the $1 billion mark.
Hold on, seriously, didn't 2023 feel a little, I don't know, all over the place globally?
More like one of those log flume rides with the surprise drops. We had the Israel-Hamas conflict, the Red Sea thing messing with the Suez Canal, even a Panama Canal drought.
Whoa, forgot about that last one.
It was a lot. And all of that throws a wrench into global trade, which for a country like Singapore is so dependent on imports.
Big problem.
Huge. And Shengxiang, they import a ton of their products, right?
Yeah, so how'd they manage?
That's the thing. They were prepared. Their report talks about diversifying their supply chain, getting ahead of these global curveballs. They were thinking ahead, not just reacting.
So they were ready for the world to go a little haywire, but what about closer to home? Singapore's economy had its own share of ups and downs, right? GST, inflation.
Oh, absolutely. And Shengxiang knew their audience. Everyday people feeling the pinch. Remember that counterinflation 1% discount they did early in 2023?
Yeah, I remember thinking that was clever.
It was more than clever. It was them showing they understood what their customers were dealing with.
And on top of that, they were expanding within Singapore, right? Snagging prime real estate from HDB.
Smart move. They knew exactly where to be those residential areas, making themselves the go-to for value shoppers. And get this, they even won Best Customer Service from the Straits Times.
See, it's not just about low prices, it's the whole experience. Their own brands, which tend to be easier on the wallet, probably factor in too, right?
Totally. But it's not just about holding their ground at home. They're making moves in China, too.
Which is no easy feat. China's retail scene is, well,
Cutthroat.
that's one word for it. 5 stores already, a 6th on the way. How are they tackling that?
It's their approach. Very calculated. Instead of trying to take over overnight, they're focusing on getting the operations down pat, refining what they offer based on what Chinese shoppers actually want, and they're investing in training their teams there properly.
It's like they're over there saying, we're not just here to sell groceries. We're here to stay. Gotta respect that.
For sure. Take smarts.
Yeah.
And speaking of smart, you know what else Shengxiang's doing? Bringing the tech back home. Those AI weighing scales, the self-checkouts.
Oh, yeah. Like stepping into the future of grocery shopping.
Right. But there's a method to the madness.
How so?
Think about it. Labor costs in Singapore, they're not going down.
Mm.
This way, they can automate the stuff that doesn't need a human touch.
Makes sense. Frees up their staff for, actual customer service.
Exactly. Working smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
And speaking of smart moves, can we talk about their sustainability efforts?
Yeah.
Partnering with DBS Bank to help their suppliers, mostly those smaller businesses, the SMEs go green. That's huge.
Yeah, it's one thing to clean up your own act, but to bring everyone along, that's next level.
Right. Imagine if they're creating a greener playing field for over 1,000 businesses with that initiative. That's commitment.
It's like they're saying, hey, we're all in this together.
Totally. And then there's the plastic bag charge. Reducing waste, those proceeds go into good causes.
It all adds up.
It shows they get it. Their impact goes way beyond just selling groceries.
Okay, so they're on top of their game, business-wise, doing their part for the planet. But what about the people making it all happen behind the scenes?
This is where the annual report gets really interesting. It gives you a glimpse into their leadership. And trust me, it's a fascinating bunch.
Oh, spill it. Who are these masterminds behind Shengxiang's success?
Well, first up, you've got Mr. Tan Lingsan. The man has been in the grocery game for over 60 years. He's all about the big picture strategy, sniffing out new opportunities.
60 years. That's like longer than I've been alive. He's seen it all.
You could say that. And that kind of experience in an industry that never sits still, that's gold.
Talk about a steady hand on the wheel. Who else is on this team?
Then there's Mr. Fan Hongbo, the financial controller. Came on board in 2022, and let me tell you, this guy knows his numbers. Master's in Business Administration, member of the Institute of Singapore Chartered Accountants, the real deal.
Gotta have a numbers person, especially with Shengxiang's ambitions, right?
Absolutely. And what's cool is they've got such a mix of expertise. Take MDM Lee Moi Hong. She's been there since the beginning, back in '85, and now heads up dry goods. Oh, and fun fact, she's married to the CEO, Mr. Lim Hock Chi.
Whoa, talk about a family business.
Right. But her story, it really shows you how much Shengxiang values growing their own people. Worked her way up through different roles, knows the business inside and out.
Dedication, a true supermarket success story. Who else has climbed the ranks there?
Well, it's Mr. Ho Chi Ha, head of retail operations. He's the guy in charge of all their stores, both in Singapore and China. And get this, he started as a cashier.
No way, from cashier to the top.
Yep. It's proof that Shengxiang invests in its people. They put him through all sorts of training, the Singapore Institute of Retail Studies, even the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy.
Now that's commitment. They're serious about developing leaders from within.
Absolutely. And it's not just the top brass. Take Mr. Liang Wingfong. He joined in 2000 stacking groceries, and now he's head of purchasing and promotions. The guy who negotiates with suppliers, plans all those deals we love. That's him.
That's amazing. They recognize potential no matter where you start.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's Mr. Chao Keeman, the mastermind behind all those Sheng Xiang branded goodies. He started in 2007, and now he heads up everything to do with their own brands, developing new products, marketing, the whole shebang.
Their house brands, those are like their signature, right?
Totally. And having someone like Mr. Chow leading that charge, that's how they keep things fresh, keep up with what customers want.
Makes sense. And we can't forget the tech side of things.
Right. Mr. Wu Chi-kit, their chief information officer, he's the brains behind their whole IT system. Joined in 2013 and has been key in upgrading everything, especially their new integrated retail systems.
He's the reason those AI scales and self-checkouts actually work, right?
Pretty much. You can't be a modern retailer without a solid IT setup these days, and Sheng Xiang's got it covered.
For sure. So last but not least, who else is on this leadership all-star team?
We've got Mr. Wang Heng-san, the Deputy General Manager for International Business Development. He's the one jet-setting around, handling international sourcing, trade, investments, you name it.
That's a lot of hats to wear. He must have quite the background.
Oh, he does. He's been to Golden Hope Commodity, the Singapore Trade Development Board. He even served as commercial attaché at the Singapore Embassy in Beijing.
Whoa. Talk about an international man of mystery. So basically what you're saying is Sheng Xiang's leadership is like the Avengers of the supermarket world.
Pretty much. It's clear they know how to attract top-notch talent and, just as importantly, keep them around. They've built this whole culture of growth and opportunity, and you can see it in how successful their leadership team is.
They're not just running a company. They're building a team of experts, each one playing a key role.
Exactly. And that focus on building a strong foundation, it goes beyond just the people, too. It's about how they run the entire show. We're talking corporate governance.
All right, let's dive into that. What's their secret sauce for keeping things running smoothly and ethically? So they've got this amazing team, but what about the big picture? How do they make sure everything's on the up and up, ethically sound?
That's where corporate governance comes in.
Yeah.
It's like the rule book, right? Guides their decisions, their actions, the whole 9 yards.
And Sheng Xiang, they actually lay it all out in their annual report, right?
Big time.
Yeah.
They dedicate a good chunk of it to their governance structure. And let me tell you, it's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, they've got the board of directors, the audit and risk committee, nominating committee, remuneration committee. It's a lot.
It's like a well-oiled machine, all these parts working together.
Right. So the board, they're the big decision makers, right?
Exactly. Setting the strategy, making sure everyone's accountable, keeping an eye on the management team, it all falls under them.
And they even have that formal policy about diversity on the board, right? Aiming for at least 30% women.
They do. And they're already there.
Yeah.
3 out of 9 board members are women.
Which includes 2 independent directors who also sit on that nominating committee, right?
That's right. They're walking the walk when it comes to diversity at the top.
Okay, so then there's the audit and risk committee. They're the ones making sure the money's right, yeah.
You got it. They're all over those financial statements. They oversee the internal and external audits. Think of them as the guardians of financial integrity, making sure everything's squeaky clean.
And they're the ones who handle the whole whistleblowing thing too, right?
Exactly. So employees, even people outside the company, they can raise a flag if they see something fishy. It's about creating that open, speak-up culture.
Transparency is key, for sure. Then we've got the nominating committee. They're the ones scouting out the future board members, right?
You got it. They find potential candidates, they check out how the current directors are doing, and they make sure the board has the right mix of skills and experience to lead effectively.
So it's about making sure the leadership's strong, diverse, and ready to face whatever's next.
Exactly. And last but not least, there's the remuneration committee.
Right. They handle all the, how do I put this delicately, the money stuff.
For the bigwigs.
Basically. They decide how much the directors and executives get paid, making sure it's all above board and in line with how well the company's doing, and what's standard in the market.
So it's about keeping things fair and transparent when it comes to compensation.
Precisely. Everyone gets rewarded fairly for their contribution to the company's success. Okay, so Sheng Xiang's not messing around when it comes to corporate governance. They've got a solid system to keep everything transparent, accountable, and ethical from the top down.
And that's huge for building trust, with investors, with stakeholders, even just the general public. It shows they're the real deal, that they care about integrity and doing things the right way.
It's like the cherry on top, We've seen their resilience, their innovation, their commitment to sustainability, and their community. And now with this strong corporate governance, it paints a really impressive picture of who they are as a company.
It's a holistic approach to success. It's not just about the bottom line. It's about doing right by everyone involved. And that, I think, is a recipe for sustainable growth and lasting impact.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, folks, there you have it. Sheng Xiang, more than just a supermarket. They're a company with a vision, a heart, and a commitment to doing business the right way. We hope this deep dive has given you a new appreciation for the brand and a thing or two to think about as you navigate your own consumer journey. Until next time.